You are stuck? Not really improving on your instrument? In the last 12 years as a professional guitar teacher, I've seen tons of students, and today I want to share with you what I believe main reason why you and why me, myself, are not improving on our instrument. Here we go. Hey Guitar Champion, what's going on? ZEN here, back from my practice cave, and welcome to today's video. Today's video is really important for me because I truly believe in what I'm saying here. Watch the video till the end, and if you liked it and if you're saying, okay, there was something that really inspired me and helped me from what ZEN was saying here, then share this video on social media or on some other guitar players. This way you can really support me. Alright, and the three main things where we talk about in this video has nothing to do with scales or certain techniques or how we hold our fingers or whatnot. No, today we are talking about awareness, focus, and patience. In the end of the video, I'm going to give you two examples. One example where I want to tell you the story of a really good student that I had lately who made a lot of progress by following my instructions and the instructions that I'm going to give you in this video. And I want to share a story of a really bad student who did not exactly this. And I believe that he won't be too happy that I'm mentioning him here because I'm sure nearly everybody of you who are watching this video are knowing this guy. First, let's talk about awareness. In my practice room and in my practice situation, I try to be as hard and as strict as possible to myself. Okay, what do I mean by that? I don't believe that progress is coming through punishment. Not at all. No. What I rather want to say here is that it's really important that you're trying to observe what you're doing on the instrument as much and as deeply as possible. How can you do this? Record yourself and film yourself. And then, and I've spoken a lot about this in this channel, with the help of technology like, for example, the DAW on your PC, where you can record yourself, slow it down as much as possible when you are practicing something, a lick, a riff, a song, whatnot, and really check out, hey, is everything correctly? Is every 60 note really a 60 note? Maybe I'm doing a triplet here, maybe my hand synchronization is off, maybe the tone is wrong, whatnot. All these kind of little details, really take a deep and close look to that and create this awareness of what you are doing on your instrument. This may seem hard and maybe even a little bit over exaggerating in the first place. Like for myself, I love to film myself and then I go into, for me it's Premiere, and really check frame by frame, what am I doing? Is every note really picked? Or maybe I do a hammer on here and there, or maybe I do economy picking instead of alternate picking. All those kind of little technical details. These things help me a lot to create that awareness. And the awareness helped me on the other hand a lot in the musical situation, like for example playing on a stage or recording in the studio or even writing songs, because there I can trust my awareness. I can trust my awareness and I can focus on the more musical things. For example, being on stage, I can focus on reacting to the audience, listening to the other band guys, listening to the bigger picture, because I can trust the awareness that I create in my practice cave. For me, it was important to find that enjoyment in the challenge, and then the outcome and the result through that awareness, it was mind-blowing. So lesson number one, don't be too, it's fine what I'm doing here, it's okay, it's maybe not 100% perfect. No, try to achieve, in the practice room at least, the 100% perfect. Of course it don't has to be, but at least try to achieve it, and then you will definitely feel more comfortable in all the musical situations. But this was just the first step, the I would say most important step of those three. The next one is focus. This is probably one of the biggest problems in the current guitar generation. I mean, current times are a blast. Nearly every information that we want are for free through the internet. But the problem is, it's way too much information on some certain topics. Of course, if I want to find out how old John Petrucci is, Pretty easy to find out. But if I want to find out how to play the ending passage of The Dying Soul, that could be a little bit more tricky. I once heard gathering information from the internet is like you're thirsty and you just want a sip of water, but you get a whole river to drink. So it is extremely important to focus for a longer time on certain things, certain techniques, certain styles, certain songs. This is crucial to make progress on your instrument. And therefore, of course, you need to find out on what you want to focus on. So set yourself goals that you really want. Don't make goals like, oh, if I want to be a good guitar player like that, I have to learn like this, but even if I think it's boring and I don't want to do it and all this kind of stuff, try to find goals that makes fun, that is an enjoyment, because yeah, this is the most important thing about this instrument, that we are enjoying it and not forcing it. So it doesn't matter if it's beat picking, it doesn't matter if it's intervals, or it doesn't matter if it's, I don't know, learning all the drop 4 and 2 voicings over giant steps. Doesn't matter. The important thing is focus on that certain goal up to the point where you know, okay, now I have a consciousness about this kind of thing. Now I have an awareness about this kind of thing. Then I would say you can move on if you like. I know there is the fear of missing out. I know this as well as everybody else. But you can ask every great guitar player on this planet. I don't know, Guthrie Govan or Rick Graham, Tosin Abasi and Paul Gilbert, Marty Friedman. Take every guitar player that you want and ask them if they could play everything. They would say no. There are certain styles where I'm definitely not good at because I focus to be good at the style that I want to be good at. Every one of them probably knows how important it is to focus on a certain task and on a certain goal. Imagine you have a friend who's saying to you he's doing sport, but in the first week he's training for a marathon, and the next week he's lifting weights, and then the week after that he is swimming, and then the week after that he's wrestling. And you probably said one day, hey dude, stick to one thing. Now don't get me wrong, I mean in the beginning this can quite helpful. Every doctor would say it's better to do something than to do nothing, and the same goes for the guitar, but quickly you will realize that you are getting on a plateau and you are not moving anywhere and you're not improving anywhere. But focus leads us to the next problem that most guitar players have out there, and this is being patient. Sometimes improving on your instrument can cost 6 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks, sometimes 4 months, sometimes 6 weeks, sometimes a year. This can cost a lot of time, and it's important to be patient. Now, but I know it's easier said than done. It's the same thing again like with sports. It's so easy to say, yes, if you want to lose weight, you have to do 2 things: less eating, more moving. Again, this is also easier said than done. There are so many more problems behind that you probably don't see with the first look. But how can you work on being patient? How can you practice being patient? This can be kind of hard one, but I would recommend to set smaller goals, smaller things to focus on, and then try to work like 2 weeks on one thing, maybe next time 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Try to see the bigger picture and try not to get bored with what you are practicing, which is probably one of the harder things to do. I know how easily it is to get bored with practicing a certain scale or practicing a certain lick. And this is why I often change the way how I practice. And I think this is totally fine to change how you are practicing. Don't change what you are practicing up to the point where you have an awareness, but you can change how you are practicing. I'm trying to change certain things every day. One day I start slow and get faster. One day I do my 7 out of 9 method, which I explained in some of these videos here. One day I practice with a tempo and practice really fast, and the next day I practice it like this and like that. There are so many interesting methods how you can spice up your practice routine and make it a little bit more interesting. So, and now to give you a good example on how this can look like in the real life, I want to share with you the story of my student Alex. Alex started taking lessons from me around this time last year, and he was already a well-accomplished guitar player. He He had a lot of years of experiencing, but he got stuck to a certain point. He knew how to play jazz guitar, how to play over certain changes, and how to play Wes Montgomery licks, and how to play live and live situation. He's playing a lot with local pub bands and local jams and with some kind of country western bands, but he had a goal. He also was a big Yngwie and a big shred fan, and he wanted to be able to play a sweep arpeggio in his solo, or a fast run, or just to have a little bit more freedom in his playing. So we sat down, and I realized immediately while watching his playing that he had a lot of problem with his right hand. He was not picking out of the wrist. He had problems with his left hand. So a little bit more kind of technical problems, which are not interesting here. Interesting here is that I told him how to do it in the correct way, and that he now had to relearn certain licks and certain songs and whatnot on a much slower tempo, and then increasing it slowly and really slowly, but creating more and more this big awareness. So he had a goal. He was focused. He got not really distracted by, oh, I need to learn this kind of legato lick. Oh, hey, cool, there's this fusion lick. But I also want to learn this slapping lick and this hybrid picking lick and all. He had his focus on right hand technique and sweeping in the beginning. So he had his goal, he was really focused, and he was patient. Sometimes we even had lessons where I said, oh, we have to restart again. I saw something in your playing that is not so good. You start to develop a certain bad habit. We should change it. This is something where, again, a lot of people are afraid of learning something in the wrong way, and I can totally understand it, but that's really important. Don't be afraid of that, because changing something in your playing style does not get harder the more experienced you are on the instrument. No, it gets easier. You may have to relearn a certain technique or something, but the progress is getting much faster. Which leads me to the bad student, and his name is Justin Hombach. And I was a terrible student for a long time and didn't realize it. Because especially when I was studying jazz guitar in university, I was extremely motivated. And I've practiced my 5, 6, 7 hours a day, you can believe me that. But I wasn't patient at all. I wanted to learn this, and then I get bored. Next week I want to learn this. And then I got bored and stopped that again and started this again. So I was focused as well, because I jumped between, I want to be a metal shred guitar player, but I'm studying jazz guitar and there's this Charlie Parker solo. I want to learn this Charlie Parker solo, but funk guitar is also really interesting, and selective picking, and I wasn't focused at all. And through not being focused, I didn't create any awareness of what I am doing on my instrument. And I learned this last thing here the hard way last year. I had a mental breakdown last year, which went over 2 weeks long, where I was thinking like, my goal is to make a living being a good teacher, being a good educator on the internet, and famous for being an educator. But I play like shit, because I realized while filming, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just doing something, it's maybe fast, it maybe sounds cool, but I have no clue what I'm doing here. And this got me really upset. But what I've learned after that is, okay, I need to have an awareness of what I'm doing on my instrument. To create an awareness, I need to focus on this kind of certain technique and one certain thing. But to really get the result, I have to be patient with myself. And it cost me nearly 1 year to fix that one problem that I had. I sometimes talked about this on this YouTube channel, and to make it shortly, it was playing a two-way pick slanting lick on 16-note triplets, and I thought I could play it perfectly on 140 BPM. I had to restart on 80 BPM. It took me 1 year. Now I can play it on 160 BPM. Yay! So don't be like Justin, be like Alex. So you don't have to practice 6 hours every day to get better on the instrument and all this kind of stuff. No, it's totally fine to practice 30 minutes as long as you are patient of what you're doing, you focus on what you're doing, and you create that awareness. so much for this little talking video here. Well, I truly believe a lot of people getting stuck on the instrument. I hope you like this video. If you like the video, then subscribe to this channel, leave a like and leave a nice comment if you like. Alright, for that, cheers, stay in progress and goodbye.